snow drifted in soft, lazy spirals outside the giant glass windows of Riverside Mall, turning the world into a glowing white postcard. Inside, the air buzzed with Christmas energy, children tugging their parents toward toy stores, couples taking selfies under golden wreaths, and carols looping endlessly over the speakers. In the middle of all this stood the big red Santa booth, draped in twinkling lights, where Daniel sat adjusting the velvet suit that felt heavier than usual. Daniel wasn't a professional Santa, he was simply a man trying to keep busy. This was his first Christmas without his mother, and every piece of holiday cheer around him pinched at the quiet ache he carried inside. The fake beard itched, the hat slid down his forehead, and yet he stayed, because the laughter of children distracted him from the silence waiting for him at home. Just as he was preparing to take a short break, someone approached, but not in the way children usually ran up with excitement. A young woman stood there gently, almost uncertainly. She wasn't carrying a child, nor holding a list, nor snapping a picture. She simply watched him with a look that didn't belong in a festive place, a soft sadness, like someone who'd been holding in her feelings for too long. She took a careful seat on the Christmas photo bench, her navy coat dusted with melted snowflakes, her fingers nervously gripping the edge of her scarf. Leaning slightly closer, she whispered, not playfully but truthfully. "Santa. I don't want to spend Christmas alone." The words hit him deeper than any child's wish. For a moment, Daniel forgot the crowd, the suit, the lights. He saw her loneliness, because it mirrored his own. Before thinking, he answered softly, in a voice that was more man than Santa. "Santa has already noted it." And in that single exchange, both felt something shift, something warm in the middle of winter. Daniel sat frozen for a moment, her words echoing louder than the carols filling the mall. The young woman, who would later introduce herself as Lena, looked as if saying that single sentence had taken all her courage. Her eyes didn't shine with holiday excitement, they held a gentle exhaustion, the kind that comes from carrying loneliness too quietly for too long. He stayed in character as Santa, but his heart wasn't acting anymore. "Tell Santa what's going on," he said softly. Lena exhaled, the breath trembling as though it had been trapped inside her for weeks. She explained that she had moved to the city 6 months ago for a new job at a local library. Everything had seemed promising, new beginnings, new opportunities, but reality had turned out quieter, emptier. Her co-workers were polite but distant. Her family was thousands of miles away for the holidays. And every night, she returned to an apartment that felt more like a temporary stop than a home. "I didn't mean to sit here," she admitted with an embarrassed smile. I saw the lights, the families, and it hit me how quiet my Christmas was going to be. Then I saw the Santa chair and thought, maybe it's safe to say it here." Daniel felt the sting of recognition. Loneliness had a way of recognizing its own kind. Kids ran around them, parents called out for photos, but a bubble of stillness wrapped around the bench. It didn't feel like a performance anymore, it felt like two people whispering truths they couldn't tell anyone else. "You're not the only one spending it alone," Daniel said gently, forgetting to deepen his voice like Santa. Lena's eyes softened. She had come looking for a moment of comfort. But she had unknowingly given him the same. The next afternoon, Daniel woke with the memory of Lena's quiet smile still lingering in his mind. He wasn't scheduled to work that day, no Santa suit, no long lines of children, no fake beard to hide behind. But something within him tugged, a gentle pull he couldn't explain. Before he realized it, he was already on a bus headed back to the mall. He tried to tell himself he was just going for coffee or to walk around, but deep down, he knew the truth. When he stepped inside, the mall wasn't as crowded as the day before. Soft instrumental carols floated through the warm air. He walked past the glowing Christmas tree, past the Santa booth, empty now, and wandered toward the small holiday market set up in the center. And there she was. Lena stood at a pop-up book stall, running her fingers along the spines with the kind of fondness only true readers had. Her navy coat, her soft posture, the way her hair fell gently over her cheek, it was unmistakably her. Before he could decide whether to say something or quietly walk away, she looked up. Recognition lit her face. "Santa," she teased, an unexpected sparkle in her eyes. Daniel laughed, rubbing the back of his neck. "Only part-time. Off duty today." She closed the book she was holding, smiling shyly. "So you came back here, why?" He could have made a joke. He could have lied. Instead, he chose honesty. "I guess I hoped I'd see you again." Her cheeks warmed, and she stepped closer. "Then I'm glad you found me." They wandered through the stalls together, talking like old friends, about books, childhood Christmas traditions, the strange quietness of living alone in a big city. Every word flowed easily, surprising them both. And when the mall dimmed its lights for the evening Christmas show, Lena slipped her arm through Daniel's as if it were the most natural thing in the world. This time, he didn't ignore the warmth blooming in his chest. This time, he didn't let go. Christmas Eve crept in softly, wrapping the city in a cold quietness. Daniel stood outside Lena's apartment building, clutching a small gift box wrapped in red paper. He had never been good at presents, too simple, too unsure, but this one felt important. He took a breath, steadied himself, and knocked. The door opened, and Lena appeared, her hair tied loosely, her cheeks warm from the glow of the small Christmas tree behind her. Her surprise melted into a gentle smile. "Daniel, you came. I didn't want you spending Christmas Eve alone." He lifted the little box awkwardly. "And well, I brought something." She stepped aside, letting him in. The apartment was quiet but cozy, soft lights twinkling on a tiny tree, a faint cinnamon scent drifting from a candle. It wasn't grand, but it was warm, the kind of warmth that wrapped around you like a blanket. Lena took the box carefully and sat on the couch. When she opened it, her breath caught. Inside lay a delicate snowflake-shaped bookmark, thin silver metal etched with tiny details. "You said you love books," Daniel murmured, suddenly nervous. "It's not much, but I wanted it to mean something." "It does," she whispered. And it truly did. In that small gift, she felt seen, understood in a way she hadn't been in months. She placed the bookmark gently on the table, then went to the kitchen to pour them hot cocoa topped with marshmallows. They sat together, knees touching lightly, talking about everything and nothing, childhood memories, embarrassing Santa stories, dreams they'd never spoken aloud. Outside, snow thickened, muffling the city. Inside, laughter filled the spaces where loneliness used to sit. It didn't feel like two lonely people avoiding silence anymore. It felt like the beginning of something warm, something meant. Something Christmas itself might have quietly arranged. Midnight approached with a gentle hush, the kind that only snowy Christmas nights can create. The world outside Lena's window had turned into a quiet painting, streetlights glowing against fresh snow, no cars, no footsteps, just peaceful stillness. Inside, the soft twinkle of her small Christmas tree reflected in Daniel's eyes as he stood to leave. "I should let you rest," he said softly, though part of him didn't want to go. Lena walked him to the door, her fingers brushing lightly against his. "Tonight, it didn't feel like Christmas Eve," she murmured. "It felt like something I've been missing for a long time." Daniel felt a familiar weight rise in his chest, the weight of years spent pretending he was fine, pushing away loneliness, keeping his heart quiet. But looking at Lena now, standing under the soft glow of the hallway light, he realized something had shifted, slowly, gently, beautifully. "You know," he said, taking her hands in his, "when you sat on that Santa bench and said you didn't want to spend Christmas alone, it wasn't just a wish. It was something I understood." Lena's voice was barely above a whisper. "And when you said Santa noted it, did you really mean it?" He smiled, warm, honest, unhidden. "I meant every word. And if you want me to keep showing up, I will. Not just for Christmas. For as long as you'll have me." Her eyes softened, filling with a quiet emotion that didn't need explaining. "Then don't stop showing up," Daniel, she said. Not now, not after tonight. Snow drifted past the window like falling stars as she stepped forward and wrapped her arms around him. The embrace wasn't dramatic, wasn't rushed, it was steady, grounding, the kind of hug that made the world outside disappear. Two hearts that had wandered through silence found each other in the warm glow of a tiny Christmas room. And when Daniel finally stepped out into the shimmering snowfall, he knew something with absolute certainty. This Christmas wasn't the end of their